Okay, another beautiful study from the University of Messina in Italy. Italy is very great in this matter. Is dark triad personality traits are associated with decreased gray matter volumes in social brain structures. I already talked about the gray matter. So decreased gray matter volumes in social brain. And social brain is used for understanding others' emotion, about the human interactions, and all of this related matter that are correspond to the social brain. And in this time, I don't wanna look at today's explanation. I already extracted the summary from all of them. Okay, these are the key findings. Two distinct DT profiles identified. They find out there are two people with different actually DT scores. Low to mid DT scores. DTs correspond to the criteria for evaluating somebody as a dark triad personality. So one from low to middle and mid to high group. And they use K-mean clustering. I will provide you an explanation for that. The important part is here. The high DT group scores significantly higher on all three DT traits, especially for psychopathy and Machiavellianism. But they didn't differ in age or gender distribution. In the previous study, we already talked about the gender, that it was more for males in comparison with females. And let me provide you an explanation about what the K-mean clustering is doing, but in a very brief explanation. Okay, K-mean clustering, again, is another method of unsupervised learning that try to categorize the data into different groups, and the data of each group has the similar features, okay? Based on the features, it try to categorize them into a specific group. And the way of actually doing this is using the Euclidean distance. Okay, Euclidean is the calculating the distance from one point to another. We randomly select, for instance, in this example, 3 centers. We are assuming they are centers, but they are not actually the major centers. And we calculate the Euclidean distance, the distance from one point to another. So all of the other data from the center, and we assign those data with the center with the lowest distance. And after assigning them, we calculate the average and we specify that point as the center. And again, this process will continue until we converge to a particular point that won't change or the change is very small. That's the point. Okay, and this is the important part, that VBM analysis. What is the VBM? Is a voxel-based morphometry, which is the comparison of the volume and density of the brain structures. VBM analysis revealed that the individual with higher DT traits had significantly lower gray matter volume in multiple brain regions linked to the social cognition, empathy, emotional regulation, and theory of mind, understanding others. In this area, they don't have a great volume of what? Gray matter, okay? They don't have that much gray matter. So the connection, the rewires of the neurons in those parts are lower than others. And those parts includes medial prefrontal cortex, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, posterior cingulate cortex, precuneus, superior temporal gyrus, and insula. Okay, these are again correspond to the social brain network that we already discussed about them. And this reduced gray matter volume in this region assigned with the noun psychological features, for instance, empathy deficit linked to the MPFC, insula, and PCC, posterior cingulate cortex, and medial prefrontal cortex, or impaired emotional regulation, reduced theory of mind, ability to infer other mental state, okay, how you understand others, and increased impulsivity and antisocial behavior. And this part, which didn't have exactly in the previous research paper, the psychopathy. Psychopathy showed the strongest association with decreased gray matter volume, particularly in frontal and limbic regions, supporting prior research linking to the neurobiological abnormalities similar to those seen in the antisocial personality disorder. Very, very beautiful, very beautiful correlation. And finally, about the data validation, I already discussed about the K-mean clustering. Okay, we don't need this anymore, but what we can take away from this beautiful study paper is that the higher DT traits has significantly lower gray matter in comparison with others. And these are the parts that if you wanna have a look or wanna screenshot, it's up to you. And about these parts, that what exactly doing, talking about each part of them, it's very time consuming. It's not the goal of this lecture is more about to provide you neuroscience behind the Dark Triad. That it's not just about the psychology, it's about the brain structure. Okay, they have different brain structure than others, and of course we have neuroplasticity. If they've been trained, they can create more empathy, they can create more social brain, and of course they are possible. But this is the actually the general view of the different brain structures in these people.